All right, I have one from Darth J 1977.
Okay.
I feel like
hey,
this person,
1977.
This person's name relates to their take a lot, by the way.
Do you agree with my take about 1977 being the gold standard?
Probably. Star Wars should have stopped in 1977 after the first film.
So you probably do. That's hilarious.
Wow. That's
Ooh,
bold.
That is a hot
bold.
take.
Welcome back to Stole My Line, a Fireside film podcast. I'm Grant.
And I'm Drew.
And we are breaking down Star Wars hot takes. By the way, this is our second hot takes episode we've ever done. We've done just a normal movie hot takes episode, which you can watch up here. The way this works, Drew, how does this work?
So here's the thing. Y'all have sent in all of your Star Wars hot takes. We just got done with our Star Wars marathon.
Yes.
So if you are just now finding us, we've reviewed every theatrically released Star Wars movie to date.
Go watch it.
We're going to talk about Mando and Grogu next week.
Yes. It's not out yet.
But yeah, y'all have, across the marathon, y'all have sent in your hot takes. And we are now just going to read them, react, talk about them. Yes. And then we have a scale.
We do have a scale. The scale
of, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's Raging Fire. It's like a blazing hot take. Enough for s'mores. It's pretty hot take, pretty hot fire, right? Some smoke, middle of the road. Only Embers is like, not that hot of a take. And then Wet Logs is just, it's a cold take. It's
a cold take, not even hot.
So we'll talk about how hot is the take itself. Like, is this a hot take? And then is the take good? So those are two different things. We'll talk about both of them.
That's true.
Drew, do you want to start out? Well, really quick before we start out, too. If you want to support our channel, 1, consider subscribing. 2, we started this thing. We're an Amazon associate, which we're not really going to like harp on, but we don't want to be on Patreon yet or anything like that. If you want to support the channel, we have these links in our description of both the audio and the YouTube. We both have Blu-rays of the week that we're doing. So if you want to start collecting physical media, these are our choices that you can keep up with every week. And if you click on that link and buy, it will also send some money to Stole My Line to help us keep this thing going. So
and you get a movie Blu-ray delivered to your house.
So it's not just like a $5 monthly subscription. It's like you get a Blu-ray. So that's cool.
So no pressure.
Yeah.
Absolutely none. We're doing this for free. We will still do this for free for y'all.
Yes.
Until we are old and gray.
Our wives say that we have to stop. But if you want to. Yes. If you want us to keep doing this, it would be helpful. I like your Blu-ray of the week, by the way.
Yeah, mine's the Prestige this week.
Yeah.
So. And
mine is a really nice steelbook of Princess Mononoke that I bought the other week. So anyway, I digress. Let's dive into Star Wars hot takes.
Let's get into it.
Drew, what is your Star Wars hot take?
Mine. Have you read it yet?
I glanced at it, but I just want to hear it from your lips.
Okay. My hot take is this. That Star Wars is still feeding off the OG trilogy and hasn't made anything culturally relevant since. And let me define my terms here.
Yeah,
let me define. By culturally relevant, I mean affecting mass culture. Not affecting Star Wars culture. Because I would argue Clone Wars, Andor, Rebels, even Maul, recently have all affected Star Wars culture.
Yeah.
But you cannot go out in the street and be like, thoughts on Ahsoka. They're going to be like, I don't know who Ahsoka is. Mm-hmm. If you say thoughts on Darth Vader, every single person knows who Darth Vader is.
Okay.
I think Star Wars has been riding the 1977 wave for, I don't know, 60 years, however long.
Okay. I'm gonna assign enough for. I'm tempted to give this Raging Fire. I think this is a blazing hot take.
This is kind of a hot take.
I'm going to give this Raging Fire. Because I disagree, but I agree with parts of what you're saying.
Okay, what do you disagree with?
I think The Force Awakens impacted culture, one, from the scale, but I know.
Okay.
It impacted culture not in, like, it brought a ton of people to the movie theater, even though it did. It impacted culture because Hollywood realized, nostalgia is money. And so in the 11 years since The Force Awakens came out, what have we seen? Nostalgia wave after nostalgia wave after revive franchise after revive franchise.
This is true.
And so I think, if anything, which I do think the prequels also impacted culture a lot. I think Clone Wars did somewhat, but I could see how you would say that Star Wars culture, sure. But I think The Force Awakens genuinely impacted culture on a large scale.
I would argue the only thing that impacted culture in The Force Awakens is things from 1977.
That's fair. I hear that part of the take. Yeah. But I still think, like, if we're saying the movie itself, The Force Awakens, which was made after
Right. I mean,
1977.
yeah. Okay. That's fine.
But you're right. It rides that nostalgia wave of 1977, so I don't hate that. I think the prequels are more culturally impactful.
Yeah. Also, I mean, we weren't really around then, so I don't have a ton to say. But I would say now the only reason they're impactful is because rose-tinted glasses and Darth Vader.
If you were to say, like, if you were to change this take to post-2005, post-George Lucas, I probably would fully agree.
Oh, 100%.
But I think where you get Raging Fires, like, you just roped the prequels into that.
It's true.
Of, like, they didn't impact culture, and I think they did.
Yeah.
But I think there's interesting stuff in that take.
But wasn't the reception to the prequels when they came out horribly negative? Again, I was born in 2005, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people opening night loved The Phantom Menace, but yeah, I mean, overall, people they weren't as beloved at the time as the original trilogy, so I understand that.
I don't know.
But then if you're talking culture too, like, the prequels pioneered a ton of technology for movies, so like...
Oh, I'm not talking about Hollywood. I'm talking about broad, overarching American culture.
If you're getting into the butterfly effect, to a certain extent, what George Lucas did in The Phantom Menace is the reason we have Avatar, which is a huge cultural thing.
Okay.
It's a reach. It's a reach, but like, if we're going that far down that road.
Sure, I think that's fair.
Okay. No, I will say I lightly agree.
I don't even know if I agree with myself anymore,
I agree
to be
with
honest.
the soul of what you're saying. It's a good take. It's a Raging Fire take.
Okay.
So,
what's your hot take?
here's my hot take. Kathleen Kennedy.
Yep.
Which some people said, hey, we're hating on Kathleen too much. I would say we're giving her a proper amount of hate. Kathleen Kennedy made her biggest mistake with managing Star Wars when she didn't let Rian Johnson finish the sequels. Had Rian Johnson finished the sequels and done Episode 9, they would have been a better trilogy than what we got, and potentially better than the prequels as a whole.
I agree.
Whoa! You actually agree with that take?
Yeah, I think I do.
Oh my gosh, I won a war for The Last Jedi on this podcast. I know you still don't like it, but like I stood my ground.
No, I think here's what you convinced me of 2 days ago.
Okay.
You convinced me that the fire just fell. That's tragic.
It's okay.
You convinced me that there is merit to the movie.
Yes.
And it actually does good things well.
Yes.
And I think you're right. I also think it horribly mismanaged Luke Skywalker's character, which is the biggest sin of the movie, and I think a sin that makes the movie bad. I still don't think it's good.
I would just say that Rian Johnson is a better writer and director than J.J. Abrams is.
And, I mean, he had... Like, Rise of Skywalker feels incredibly soulless.
Oh, yeah.
I think Rian Johnson at least had a vision and an interesting direction he wanted to take it, and I'm willing to give that a shot.
And he did really good thematic storytelling, whether you
I agree.
like the movie or not. Like, there is merit to it. So, that's my hot take. On the scale, where are we at?
Oh, wait, where'd our scale go? I'm going to say enough for s'mores.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a hot take-ish. All right. That's fair.
Okay.
All right, we're going to start moving into audience hot takes for
That's
Star
true.
Wars. So, do you want to pick the first one?
I would love to.
I'm going to write some of these down.
Hold. Some of these are long, guys.
Yeah, we'll have to paraphrase some of them.
This one's hilarious.
Okay, go for it.
We're not going to have a lot to say on this because I don't think either of us has seen it. But Evan Crowley, 829, said, Acolyte is good.
I'm pretty sure the comment actually just said Acolyte good.
Oh.
And I added is for... I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
And so, like, I feel like I can't really talk about it, but I think I got a really bad impression, and the reason I didn't watch it was because of some of the behind-the-scenes interviews that happened.
Yep.
Which, like, I don't care, political opinions aside, if we're saying that, what was it, C-3PO, or R2-D2's a lesbian? I'm pretty sure that was said at one point.
Yeah.
Like, we're losing the...
I don't. We're losing the plot here.
This isn't a worldview thing. Like, we're just losing what Star Wars is about, guys. If that's what we're talking about in interviews, like, so I think that turned me off from just like if somebody is saying that about their show, I'm like, that's not why I want to watch a Star Wars show. Like, I want a good plot, and then the stuff I heard about the plot was bad.
Yep.
And so that also deterred me.
I agree.
And so, like, I've seen the clip on Instagram of the girl bleeding the lightsaber just instantly. I'm like, that's not how that works canonically. So, I haven't seen the show. Drew, what are your thoughts?
I also haven't seen the show, but I mean, I think at the end of the day, if you put any political narrative above storytelling, yeah, there's just something happening crazy over here with the spider.
Some spider's doing something.
If you put any political narrative above storytelling, it's going to be bad because your focus is not storytelling.
I think you can marry the two.
100%. I think there are phenomenal stories that have political agendas.
But if you're not talking about how much you love your show and love Star Wars, and these are the things that you try to convey in your story in an interview, and instead you're talking about the sexuality of a droid, I'm like, also a droid that's not in the show, by the way. She's not in the show at all.
Yeah.
Like, again, it's not a worldview thing. I just, like, I'm not going to watch that show. Like, that turns me off. So, there are some Acolyte defenders.
It could be good.
I think the idea of the Acolyte is good.
I agree. I think the concept is awesome.
Like, we said this on an earlier podcast, like, go back to the Old Republic and tell stories there. Great. I think that's a cool idea. It sucks that the Acolyte was kind of a bad note there because it could be a really cool era to tell stories in. Maybe they'll revisit it one day. But, yeah, unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
How hot do you think this take is?
I think as, like, internet discourse has kind of simmered, I'm going to say enough for s'mores.
I would agree with that. Let me find this one. Yeah, I would say that this is... It's a hot take, but I don't think anybody's focused on the Acolyte anymore, so
yeah,
no one really cares. Who's that one from? Did we say?
That was from
Evan Crowley.
Evan Crowley, 829.
Okay. All right, I have one from Darth J 1977.
Okay.
Like
hey,
this person,
1977.
This person's name relates to their take a lot, by the way.
Do you agree with my take about 1977 being the gold standard?
Probably. Star Wars should have stopped in 1977 after the first film.
So you probably do. That's hilarious.
Wow. That's bold.
That is a hot
bold.
take.
I would say this is Raging Fire.
I think I agree.
Like, it's not even close.
Star Wars should have stopped after 1977.
Like, no more Star Wars films whatsoever. I think, somewhere in the comments, I think he went on to say he thinks Empire is good, but, like, there's so much bad that we should have just stopped.
Okay.
I cannot agree with this.
I don't think I can agree with that either.
Like, yeah, there's a lot of bad in Star Wars, but there's so much good.
I know. I mean, we wouldn't have Andor, we wouldn't have Clone Wars, even we wouldn't have Revenge of the Sith.
Or The Last Jedi.
Or The Last Jedi.
No, I think there's a lot of good Star Wars, and we have to say that Star Wars should have continued. Now, if somebody's take was we should have stopped after the original saga and done no more movies and only TV shows, I'd probably be like, yeah, okay, I can hear that take out. No Disney Star Wars, okay, that's fine.
Maybe not no more movies, but we should have moved from
the Skywalker
Luke
Skywalker.
Skywalker.
Yeah,
I can agree. I can get behind that for sure.
But that's not the take.
That's not the take. I disagree with this. I mean, it was inevitable based off of the success of A New Hope, which I know it wasn't called A New Hope in 1977, that we would get more.
Yes.
And I think as your IP grows, there is good and there is bad. And that's just kind of part of Hollywood and movie making and capitalism, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's okay. I think the good outweighs the bad in the sense of I would much rather have all the good and the bad than none of it.
Yeah.
Because the good is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right, your pick.
Okay. I'm going to go, with Fan
30303.
30,303 or 303, I don't know. Andor season 1 and 2 and Rogue One is the second best Star Wars trilogy.
I gotta let you weigh on this one because, guys,
you still haven't seen
I
Andor
still have
season
not
2.
finished Andor, and I'm sorry. I've gotten all the crap for it, and I accept it, and I will finish it.
I kind of agree, actually. I don't think Rogue One is still a great ending to Cassian's story.
Okay.
But I think season 1 and 2 is so good. It's kind of like a Return of the Jedi phenomenon where it's like first two entries are sick. Return of the Jedi I personally love, but I understand that has some flaws. So I kind of agree.
Okay, well then let's say this is a trilogy. Let's say we're viewing Andor Rogue One as a trilogy.
Okay.
Is this better than the sequels?
Yeah,
as a
100%.
Okay. Is this better than the prequels? This is where
I think objectively, yes.
Yeah. Okay. I can agree with that.
So I'm going to
As
say
somebody who hasn't seen Andor yet or finished Andor, I've watched season 1. So
I think I completely agree.
how hot do you think this take is?
I think this is pretty hot, actually. I'm going to say it's between enough for s'mores and Raging Fire.
I don't think it's that crazy that if we view it as a trilogy, it's better.
I mean,
than
I
the
just
prequels.
know that there are some prequel defenders out there who would get so
They're
angry.
typing right now.
They're
I know
typing
you're
right
typing.
now.
Keep typing.
Please keep typing.
Just don't spam. Just use reasoning. It's fine.
I'm going to say enough for s'mores.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can get behind that. All right, it's my turn for s'mores. Whew, let me find one. Okay, this is from Carson Cooper.
God.
Carson's a close friend of mine, and he's a troll. So coin flip on if this is a hot take or like he's trolling. Genuine coin flip. Carson Cooper says The Phantom Menace is the best movie of the prequels.
This is insane.
This is a troll, but we're gonna talk about it like it's not.
Like
a troll.
it's not a troll. Okay.
It's highly misunderstood and expected to be something it's not. And then he follows it up with a lot of hate came from people wanting to recreate the feeling of the original trilogy without understanding what it was actually trying to do. Has one of the best final scenes. This section has to be ChatGPT. It's one of the best final scenes. An incredible score, and authentic movie scenes that are much better than present day CGI nonsense. That's.
I think on a hotness scale, this is pretty hot.
I would say this is a Raging Fire take.
I agree.
This is silly.
I think this is factually incorrect, objectively wrong.
Now, if somebody... Okay.
What are you about to say?
If somebody is willing to spin this and argue that the prequels have more life than a lot of modern movies...
I agree.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
But, like, that's not... This is saying that this is the best of the prequels, which is not true.
Phantom
and
Menace
that
is the worst of the prequels.
in present-day CGI nonsense... I mean, a lot of the present-day CGI nonsense is akin to what we see in the prequels with CGI nonsense.
It's
so,
true.
do with that what you will.
Yeah. I did see... Hold on, let's see if I can find it, because I saw an interesting Phantom Menace take while we're on this thread.
Yeah,
it's right here. Okay.
Go for it.
Logan Anthony, 7112. Loki wrote a paragraph, so we're going to try to sum this up. The Phantom Menace is good because it's the only movie that focuses on culture in the galaxy.
Okay.
Every planet
I'm going to
is...
stoke the fire while you talk.
Yeah, you're good. Every planet is, in 2 through 6, is involved in the war somehow. But the piece in the galaxy of Episode 1 shows us the art of Naboo, the gambling culture of the Outer Rim. The Hutts are shown to have a social responsibility on Tatooine, building a pod racing system that entertains their community and hosting races. The Phantom Menace has a broad diversity of characters. You are a brave boy.
Sorry.
The Phantom Menace has a broad diversity of characters who didn't have a role to play in the Force narrative, such as Sebulba, which adds dimension to the galaxy. It's the only movie to show a traditional master/apprentice relationship in the Jedi. Is that true? Attack of the Clones? Maybe? With Anakin and Obi-Wan? But I digress. Where the master isn't a ghost or a very old man reluctantly taking on an apprentice too old to begin their training. This shows the culture of the Jedi in addition to the scenes in the Council where they are assessing Anakin as a potential candidate, rather than in Episode 2 and 3 when the Council scenes are dominated by discussion about uncovering a mystery or dispatching Jedi to acts as warriors.
Okay, so this take is, in summary, saying The Phantom Menace is better than people think because
it focuses on world building
On
as
the world
opposed
building.
to like a narrative.
it's the only movie to show a traditional master-apprentice relationship in the Jedi where a master isn't a ghost or a very old man.
I disagree with that specifically because of Attack of the Clones.
Although, I will say, Anakin isn't... He's too old, really, to be a Padawan, and Obi-Wan is not really ready to be a master. So if you're saying that
I guess that's true.
If you're saying that that's not a traditional master-apprentice relationship, too, then sure.
Yeah,
This is the only movie to
fine.
do that. I would say Anakin and Ahsoka is a traditional one, but yeah, he says movie. Okay, where are we feeling on take?
I'm gonna say
on hotness.
This is some smoke.
You don't think this is a hot take?
I that's in the middle of. I think it is a reasonably hot take, but not like crazy.
I mean, the take is that The Phantom Menace is good.
I think we have different definitions of good. Here's my definition of good.
Send it.
At least in the context of the prequels.
Okay.
When your goal is to establish how Darth Vader was created, and something does not push you toward that goal, that feels like a poor writing decision. Now, I think Logan Anthony, you have some validity in saying that the world building is good in Phantom Menace. I think that's actually a pretty good take.
I would say it's not perfectly executed. Like, I think the exposition and delivery it can be bad, but
right. I think the dialogue in Phantom Menace is not terrible.
It's not terrible. Just the fact that we open with the Trade Federation, and
yeah, that's true.
Like, there's some bad in there, but
I would argue that the Phantom Menace should not have been specifically about world building and should have been about establishing Anakin as a likable character.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think it did that. It did that well enough, but again, this is the Act 1 of Darth Vader's saga. This is I think in execution, it is not Act 1 in Darth Vader's saga.
Okay.
But I think it's an interesting argument.
I'll give it some smoke. That's fine.
Yeah.
I would say I lightly agree with this. I think maybe the world building doesn't get enough focus.
Yeah.
But there's good in here.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Hey, good take. This one is from TheFancastFanatic. Are you ready for this one?
I'm ready.
Since Hayden, referring to Hayden Christensen, is now 20 years older, they should go back and composite the older Anakin into, I guess, what is Return of the Jedi.
Oh, this is a crazy take.
It'd make more sense that the Force healed his scars but didn't revert his age. We got to split this up into 2 sections.
Okay.
Hayden. Okay, wait. Actually, as a complete take, I don't hate this. How hot do you think this take is?
There are some people who are like OG trilogy stans and are like, no, don't mess with my movie. But I don't think. I think in the grand scheme of culture of like Star Wars culture, I'm going to say some smoke.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the hottest take. I also don't think. I don't agree with this take.
Really? I don't.
Listen. I have been pretty insistent on, like, it's one thing to remake a movie. It's another thing to go back and mess with a movie.
True.
So, like, I don't think we should have added anything to the original trilogy.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's the camp I reside in. But if you were to add something, this would make sense to add.
Yeah, I think this is true.
So I could buy that. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a reach. And then, like, at what point do you think about putting Ewan McGregor in there? Like, where does this end? So.
I do think it would be better than young Hayden Christensen.
Yeah.
Which is currently what's on Disney Plus.
Yes, and on the Blu-ray. So, I would say I don't know. I'm like right in the middle. I don't know if I agree or disagree.
I think I 1% agree.
I can 1% disagree, and we end in the middle.
Yeah, we will end as
it's a good
neutral.
take. It's interesting.
Okay.
I'm not sure I agree.
All right. UnstopEdits,
Oh,
who is a frequent commenter, so shout out to you.
shout out Unstop.
All right. Anakin Skywalker is a more compelling character than Luke because he's way more layered and tragic. Luke is basically the classic hero archetype. Good-hearted farm boy becomes a savior. It works, but it's straightforward. Anakin feels more human because his story is built around fear, attachment, anger, love, ego, and manipulation. You watch him slowly destroy himself while genuinely believing he's doing the right thing. Don't know if this will make it on the pod or not. Well,
It is.
Shout out to Unstop because you made it on the pod.
All right. I don't think this is a hot take.
Really?
I think this is a pretty cold take in Star Wars culture. I think people would say that. Okay, maybe more compelling is the hotness.
This is a hot take to me, but I don't know if it is. In
I would
Star
say
Wars
that
culture.
like Anakin is currently. I'm not sure I agree with what I'm about to say. I would say that there's a big prequel crowd that loves Anakin Skywalker.
That's true.
And also, the difference between Anakin and Luke is that Anakin has 6 movies. Luke has 4.
6 might be a stretch.
He has 5 movies. Luke has 4. How about that?
Not including what?
I'm not including A New Hope.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay?
Yeah.
So 5 movies of character development and genuine, like, Darth Vader, Anakin moments.
Right.
In A New Hope, he's kind of just the villain, and he wasn't fleshed out yet. Luke has 4 movies, and his arc is very different.
True.
I'm tough. This is tough. I'm split on this. I have no idea.
I will say this. I think, again, go watch any of our prequel episodes. I guarantee you I said this. Execution
Matters.
does not equal expectation from, like, a writer.
Okay.
So when your expectation is, as the writer, that we're going to tell this saga of how Darth Vader became a thing.
Yes.
Super interesting concept. Potentially one of the greatest concepts in pop culture.
Okay.
Execution matters. The execution of specifically 2 and 3 in Anakin's arc is pretty poorly done.
Yeah, I would completely agree.
In the grand scheme of things.
I love them. Great moments.
I would say if we're just taking the 6 movies, well, 7 if you want to count 8, of Luke and Anakin's arc, the execution of Luke's arc is significantly more well written, specifically with Empire. Like, I mean, I've seen this a lot where everyone's like, Luke is just the good old farm boy. I'm like, maybe, but did you watch Empire or did you watch The Last Jedi?
Yeah.
Like, whether you agree with how he was handling 8 or not, the
He
truth
makes
is,
mistakes.
It was handled in 8, and, like, that's canon now, so you kind of have to, like,
You
we
have
can
to see
talk
it
about
as
whether we
a
disagree,
thing,
but
yeah.
it's a thing. So I don't think he was the good farm boy from Tatooine, and I think his character arc is written better than Anakin's.
Okay, I'm going to say this is a some smoke hotness scale.
Okay, that's fine.
Because I think there are hot elements to it, but some people are full on the train that Anakin is a more compelling character.
Yep.
I'm going to disagree with you.
I also disagree.
I'm disagreeing.
Oh, you're disagreeing with me? Oh,
I think that
wow.
Anakin, the idea of Anakin, he also has the Clone Wars, which I know we're talking about in the movies. I know, but like, just hear me out. I think that the idea of Anakin and his downfall is more fleshed out overall, and we get 2 movies between Empire and Return of his redemption. I think it's better than Luke. I think, like, specifically the Darth Vader moment in Return, which you love. Like,
I do love.
that redemption moment is probably more compelling to me than anything else Luke does.
And I think the idea is better than Luke's. Like, the concept of Anakin versus the concept of Luke, Anakin's better.
Yeah.
I just think the execution's worse.
I can give you that. So
Okay.
I'm okay to disagree on that because we're kind of focused on different things. All right. Oh, this is a great one. Oh, you're going to hate this. CrazyMarigold says Return of the Jedi is more flawed than any prequel. That is false.
What are we talking
This is
about
a
right
raging
now?
fire
What are we
take.
talking about?
But I want to hear this one out. This is raging fire. Like, there's no way you think it's not.
No,
raging fire.
there's no validity here. CrazyMarigold, you're going to tell me that the Ewoks and Jabba's palace, which I would say are the 2 biggest faults of Return of the Jedi, are worse than... Did she say any
prequel?
Any prequel.
Yes.
Please go watch Attack of the Clones and listen to the dialogue and tell me that's not horrendous.
It's pretty bad.
Please go look at Anakin's character arc in Attack of the Clones and tell me it's not horrendous.
I mean, sometimes I'm fine with somebody just writing a sentence, but I would love some reasoning on this.
Yeah,
I don't
like,
understand where you're coming from. I don't.
This is a take that needs some major defense.
And we're saying this as just people who just watched all of these movies. So, like, they are all very fresh in
It's
our
true.
minds. I think some people watch the prequels a lot growing up and love them, and then maybe haven't watched the original trilogy in a while, or vice versa, and they get really entrenched in their opinions. If you watch them all, you might be like, yeah, this movie is better than this movie.
Look, I said this on any of the prequel episodes. I love those movies. Okay? I think from, like, a nostalgic perspective, they were awesome, and I
Yes.
enjoy watching them.
Yes.
But as objectively as a human can be, they are really bad. They're just not good.
Again, we said this on the Return of the Jedi podcast. If you are arguing that the story is better, that is probably a fair take.
Yeah, I think it is.
But the execution, like we've harped on for 12 episodes now, is very, very important. And the prequels, I would say Revenge of the Sith has some really good execution moments, but outside of that, they're pretty bad.
Yeah.
The Clone Wars helps a lot. So
True.
it's a benefit that it has that supplemental material, but just as movies, they're not that good.
Yep,
So,
it's
and
true.
I love them. So, I think that's a pretty crazy take.
I think that's pretty wild.
All right, you're up.
Okay. We're going to go for Jackson Hovis.
No, yes.
He says, Poe Dameron is a better pilot than Han Solo. The way
Okay.
he moves the X-Wing is actually ridiculous, full-on drifting.
It's
And
true.
he single-handedly wipes out so much of the First Order. Not sure if I agree with it, but could make for an interesting conversation.
He texted it to me saying this is what he's heard. He doesn't necessarily have this take.
Oh, this is just like a take that he's heard.
Yeah. He texted it to me. So
I low-key kind of agree.
I agree, and I think it's actually a flaw of the trilogy that the sequels that we never really talked about. That Poe's just really good hotshot pilot.
He's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, like, some of the stunts he did, and I know this is a movie, and, like, they can make him do whatever he wants, but it's sick.
It honestly, it's just, like, the same thing with the Force in the sequels, too. Like, because he's so good at it, and I guess he's been flying for a long time, but because he's so good at it, it kind of makes the original trilogy feel less, like, it makes Han Solo seem less cool, because, like, oh, anybody can be a hotshot pilot. And it's fine if you work at it, but, like, this is the same thing with Rey. Like, the fact that she got so powerful with the Force so quickly just made the moment of Luke pulling the lightsaber out of the snow feel less impactful, because if you're looking at the canon as a whole, it's not that crazy. So
I would argue this. I think because we saw Luke have to train for so long to be good at the Force, and when we started with Rey, she did not have the Force.
yes.
That is where the hang-up is for me of, like, why does she get to have all the skill with no training when we've already established in universe that it requires lots of training?
Yeah.
Poe starts out as a master pilot. I would argue at least in New Hope. Han starts out as at least a really good pilot. So, like, I don't have a problem
You
with...
mean at least in Force Awakens. Sorry. You said New Hope. Sorry, continue.
Wait, I meant New Hope.
You're saying Han starts out as a hotshot pilot in A New Hope? You said Poe.
Oh.
It's okay. Sorry, I was just trying to track.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
keep
meant
going.
Han in New Hope versus Poe in Force Awakens.
Yes. Okay.
I don't hate a character being really good just because he's really good. From a conceptual, like, I don't really know Poe's backstory. Say he's been flying since he was 4.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, I can buy that by
That he can
28,
drift in an X-Wing, yeah.
By 28, you're really good at this one thing because you've been doing it your entire life.
Yeah.
So I don't care if you waltz on screen and, like if Rey, if established in Force Awakens, and she, first thing we saw was, like, her freaking floating a ton of crap with the Force.
Yeah.
Be like, all right, you're really good at the Force.
Where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here?
Yeah.
Like, I don't hate that we start with a character very good at something.
And I'm going to say it. This is what I think The Last Jedi does well with his character. Just listen to me.
Okay.
He's a hotshot pilot, and he's darn good at what he does.
Yeah.
But then he makes leadership mistakes, and that's his character.
Yes. Okay. Yes,
And,
I agree.
I like that. I think that is good.
I think it's good. Yeah.
Okay. How hot does this take?
I think it could piss some people off.
I think he is a... We have to factor in Solo. Han in Solo is
True.
also a very good pilot.
I also think, like, special effects make this...
Yeah.
Like, the special effects of Force Awakens and The Last Jedi are way better than prequels. So, like, I don't know. This feels kind of like an unfair comparison in that vein. But I don't know. I'm going to say this is enough for s'mores.
All right. We'll give it that. All right. Is it my turn?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Oh, this is actually Jackson's dad, Christopher Hovis, but I want to talk about this take.
Okay.
Casting was bad for the prequels, particularly Ewan McGregor and Samuel L. Jackson.
Ooh.
This is
Ewan McGregor?
This is a raging fire take, in my opinion.
Kind of crazy.
I think Ewan McGregor, raging fire take, I disagree. I think Ewan is great casting. I think he's a great Obi-Wan.
Samuel L. Jackson.
If your argument is that he sticks out like a sore thumb,
I would agree.
and it's not his appearance. It's also just like
It's just the fact
it's
that
more.
he's Sam Jackson.
He was very well known at the time. He is still very well known now.
He's such an icon that it's kind of like a J.K. Simmons in the sense of, like,
Yeah.
you're just like, that's J.K. Simmons.
Yes, like you think of him less as Mace Windu. Because
Now-
as a kid, I thought he was.
Yeah,
Mace
I will
Windu.
say that because I watched these movies so much as a kid, I didn't know who Sam Jackson was until later. So, like, he has always been Mace Windu to me. But I can imagine if you watch Pulp Fiction and, like, you watch these classic Sam Jackson movies,
And
then
then
this comes
a few
out and you're
years
like,
later-
holy frick, why does Sam Jackson in this movie? I kind of agree.
Yeah, that's not crazy. I don't think he's a bad Mace Windu.
No,
though.
I think he's good.
But if you're saying that he feels out of place, I can probably buy that.
But
So,
only because he's so iconic as a person, which isn't really fair to him.
it would be like having Leo DiCaprio in Star Wars. Like, okay, but it's Leo DiCaprio.
Yeah, but like,
it might be how Ryan Gosling feels.
Is
in
that a fault
Starfighter.
of like whose fault is that? Because you're
The
so
casting
iconic.
director? I don't know, but
Well,
like that's the
I
thing,
know,
like,
but is that a?
why not cast that person?
Yeah, like
if they want to be in the movie. Yeah.
I don't hate it. I like that Sam Jackson's in this movie, but I kind of agree.
Do you think this is a Raging Fire take though?
I'm gonna say enough for Norse.
Okay, I'll change it. It's a good take though. It's interesting.
It is an interesting conversation for sure.
I think Ewan McGregor is great casting. I disagree with that.
I think that's
fundamentally.
crazy. Yeah.
All right, you're up.
Okay. We're gonna go with KenzyAho,
Yes.
who's
Kenzie.
also a frequent commenter. So shout out to you.
Shout out Kens.
Okay. Wow. Y'all are writing some paragraphs. Okay. Star Wars would have been much better off as a franchise if they had adhered more to the political swashbuckler focus that is executed in Episode 1 and 2. Well, she also states poorly. While they occasionally can be boring, the franchise would have been an easier time finding its world and tone if they had used political intrigue to ground it. Potential stories could have had us really understand what and why and how the Jedi are in relation to other religious factions, how they are viewed, the way the way the Force operates, not just as a combat booster, but an energy bent toward all living creatures. We would have had more time to explore characters and motivations if the plot was moved by non-Sith/non-Jedi agents. Imagine if Lord of the Rings spent 2 books developing Tom Bombadil instead of following the Boromir, Faramir, Denethor, Steward versus the King storyline. I think this is why people really appreciate Andor. We're shifting away from the blah-blah, vague good and evil, and looking at how individuals can channel the Force, etc., to interact with the world around them.
Listen, I love Tom Bombadil, but
Yeah.
we don't need a Tom Bombadil movie.
No, we do not.
I don't think her take is fully that Star Wars should be less focused on the Skywalkers and more focused on the world. Is she saying more? It's like it should be less focused on characters like Ahsoka, and maybe some of the side characters are more focused on the world, or weave in more of the world. Like, what do you think this is really meaning?
I mean, she mentions like 1 and 2. Are you saying that it should be more of like a political?
I think
Better off as a franchise if they had adhered more to the political swashbuckler focus. Yeah.
so. She's saying in 3 we got away from that, and that's an issue with Revenge.
Ooh, that's an interesting take. I kind of agree.
I will cautiously agree. As
I
well.
think that I actually really like the political aspect of the prequels.
Me too.
I think it's super interesting,
Mhm.
and I wish it was fleshed out more.
It is fleshed out more in the Clone Wars, which
True.
is good. So,
But that was like one of my problems with the sequels of like, there's no shot that Leia would not try to start the Senate again.
yeah.
Like I cannot believe that for a single second.
Well, but like she did, but then like she isn't involved in the Force Awakens, and that's like a
Right. Like we just have no context of like how did the First Order come to be again?
Yeah.
If the the sequels were like a political thriller of Leia, Luke trying to start Senate versus Jedi,
Mhm.
Han's in there, and like bounty hunters are trying to take power.
Yeah.
Like the moment the Empire's gone, there's a power vacuum, and that's what this is centered around. Holy crap, would that be so intriguing?
Well, in theory, Star Wars can be that. Like that's that is what we see in Andor and
100%.
then also in Maul. And Maul does a great job of
It's true.
This is how the Empire took over, and people were not happy. Like Maul is great at that. So
Yeah, I agree.
Star Wars can and has done that, and I think especially the supplemental material outside of the movies, like shows, I think is probably the best place to explore it. If you're saying
Yeah.
you want it more in the movies, I will also agree, but at a certain point, you can't overstuff a movie before it really bogs down. Like, I mean, it's an issue with The Last Jedi is that there's so much going on.
Yeah, it's true.
And so to add more political stuff into a movie like that or a movie like Revenge would kind of feel out of place.
Yeah.
But I agree.
I do think I agree with this take. Do we give it a ranking?
I don't know if we did.
I think this is
I would say
enough for.
We've been heavy on the s'mores.
I know we have been heavy on the, or maybe some smoke. I think it's in between there.
I'll say enough for s'mores.
Okay.
Some smoky s'mores. All right. This one's awesome. This might make me throw another chair. TamborTheLambor. Oh man, I
Okay.
want to throw a chair.
This is insane.
TamborTheLambor says Solo is better than The Empire Strikes Back.
That is factually incorrect. Also, this is like
unequivocally false.
just for future reference. We respect all opinions here at Stole My Line.
But we can disagree with said opinions.
But if you send a take that is this extreme, you better give us an essay of why you agree. And currently, we have no essay. It is just a blanket statement.
We will tear this apart. Solo is a fun adventure movie that I quite like.
Yep, it's very good.
Empire is sweeping family drama that is serious and also helps you learn stuff about your own life. Like, there are nuggets of truth that you can take into your own life.
How's one of the greatest plot twists in pop culture?
Incredibly visually. It's just, there's so much good in that movie. Some of the best characters in Star Wars are introduced in that movie. Solo is a fun time.
Solo is fun, and if you don't like Star Wars, kind of forgettable.
Solo's pretty rewatchable, so is Empire.
It's rewatchable.
Like, if you were to say that Solo is better than Attack of the Clones, all right, that's not even a hot take. That's fair. Solo is better than Rogue One. Okay, I can hear a take there. But, like, once we start to get into the upper echelon of Star Wars, Solo is not there. Solo is a fun movie.
Nope.
But, like, it's a fun movie.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I think if you showed someone all 11 movies of Star Wars and asked them 10 years later, what do you remember about Star Wars? Would they say, oh, yeah, Woody Harrelson, didn't he betray Solo in that movie? No. He would say, oh, yeah, Darth Vader's Luke's father.
Yes.
That's what he would say.
Yes. This is a raging fire take.
I think this is insane. I think this is rage bait. And you might be laughing in your chair currently because you have
I want
baited us.
to throw my chair again. Yeah. This person is either very high on Solo or very low on Empire or somewhere in between.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, it depends on what you want in a movie, I guess. But, like, fundamentally, Solo is not better than Empire. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that's crazy.
So, all right, you're up.
Okay. We're going to say, this is from Absolute Zero. He said, my Star Wars hot take is that Disney made the right decision, making all of the extended universe material non-canon. It was way too fleshed out and presented a huge obstacle for people wanting to write new Star Wars stories.
Okay.
The problem is that Disney has mostly sucked at doing... Oh, it moved. At doing anything worthwhile with it. Mm-hmm. If the IP ever gets bought out again, I hope the new owner keeps the EU material non-canon and just does a better job at writing it.
So they're saying that, which this is difficult because now there's movies. It was one thing when it was shows and books and we can kind of just like throw it away. But even Clone Wars was kept, I guess. So, oh yeah, this is difficult. I agree with this take. I think that Disney did make the right decision in like making it Legends.
Yeah.
But then they should have based stuff off of Legends. Like, they should have used it as source material, saying like, this isn't canon, but we're going to pull stories from Legends. And I guess they're kind of doing some of it now, but yeah.
I agree with this take. I mean, at that point, you kind of have an MCU where the source material is already so rich, you just have to adapt it well.
Yeah. And
tell compelling stories within the cinematic medium that you have. And I think Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm have not done a very good job at that.
Agreed.
Which I would argue maybe they shouldn't have done it because they just made it all worse and made it all jumbled. Well,
but it was already
I don't know if I agree with that.
It was jumbled. Like,
I also don't know enough about the Legends to...
I was daunted to... And I will go back and read some of the Thrawn books that are really good and stuff. Like, I would like to do that. But, like, I was daunted to get into Legends because it was so... There was so much. I'm like, I don't even know where to start. And I bet you that's how a lot of other people felt. So I understand the move from, like, we want to create new Star Wars, so we're just going to nuke everything that existed before that wasn't a movie. So, yeah, okay. I would say this is some smoke. I'd say there's some hotness in here because there's some good Legends stuff. So, but, like, it's not a bad take at all.
I think from a company decision, it was probably a good choice. I just think, again, the execution was not here.
Okay, I have a very long Micah Fisher take that we're about to read. Are you ready?
Shout out to Micah Fisher.
Micah, you're the GOAT. We're diving into The Last Jedi even more. If you want to hear our full thoughts on The Last Jedi, go listen to that
There's an
episode.
hour and 12 minutes on the internet just for you.
I'm going to try to speed through this. Micah says, I think Episode 8 is his personal Star Wars movie. It was a theater experience on opening night that made me feel like I was 7 again.
This is your favorite Star Wars movie, Micah?
I love this, Micah.
Favorite.
Awesome. Shout out Micah and Sean. His hot take is this: Star Wars as a series has never been all that great when it comes to character development and exploring themes. That's not crazy. Execution. I'd say there's like probably 4 or 5 characters that are very well developed and really, really great. And then outside of that, there's like nothing.
I think Star Wars as a whole, I can agree.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
fine.
All right. Great. That is sentence 1 of a lot. Okay. That stuff is there, but it's never more than serviceable, which is fine. The other movies are great, but I think The Last Jedi is the best film when it comes to exploring the core theme of Star Wars. That's not crazy. To me, the core theme of Star Wars is holding on to hope, even in the face of an unbeatable force. The rebellion should never be enough to take down the Empire, but they don't give up, and they somehow find a way. Before The Last Jedi, I think the Ewoks are the best exploration of this theme, but the 8th movie takes it to a whole new level. That's also not crazy. The core set piece of the movie is a small rebel ship being chased down by a giant First Order force. And then they eventually are cornered in a dead end with no way out. The whole movie feels like this is the end of their efforts, and yet they hold on to hope and find a way to keep on going. I think this also ties into the final shot of the broom kid looking up into the sky, holding the rebellion symbol, or holding onto the rebellion symbol. It might be my favorite shot in the whole saga. That might be crazy. But I understand where you're coming from. There is probably more in the film that supports my take that he's just not remembering, and he also just loves more of what the movie does. Luke, for example, is the most interesting he's ever been in this movie. That's a bonus take. The porgs they're porgs in blue milk or green milk. You can't go wrong. He's apologized for this being long, but this is the take.
Okay.
So let's boil this down a little bit. He is saying that Episode 8 explores the themes of Star Wars better than any other movie and has genuine character development, and Luke is the most interesting he's ever been.
Yep.
And that is what makes it really good. I'm going to let you start. Because I'm not sure I disagree with any of this, but you guys have heard my opinions on The Last Jedi.
I think, this being your favorite movie Star Wars movie is wild.
Empire is better than this movie, but
I think that's crazy. I agree in the sense of I do think the theme of hope is very well explored in this movie.
Okay.
And you made me see that.
Yes, I did.
2 days ago.
Yes, I freaking did.
We don't have to get into Luke because we did an hour and a half, and Loki a little bit of Rise of Skywalker. We were also talking about Luke in Last Jedi. I think his character is mismanaged, in my opinion.
He's potentially more interesting than he is in the original trilogy here.
But interesting does not equal good.
Yeah, but the take was more interesting.
Oh, sure. If we're talking about strictly what Micah said, I think Luke is more interesting.
Okay.
Now, I think it was a character assassination and bad writing, but sure, he's more interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, but I do think the themes of hope are accurately explored. Now, am I going to go as far as to say this is the best thematic exploration in a Star Wars movie? I don't think I can say that.
I would say Empire.
Or Return of the Jedi.
Okay, Return of the Jedi isn't as good of a narrative thematic exploration of hope. It's got
a
great narrative moments, but
exclamation.
not of hope.
Yeah, but of forgiveness and sacrifice.
Yes, but he's saying of hope.
Well, okay, sure. Again,
which he says is the core theme of Star Wars, which I don't think is crazy.
No, I don't think that's
I'd
crazy.
say forgiveness
is up
might
there.
be the core theme of Star Wars too.
I think it has a lot of core things, but I would say hope and forgiveness.
Hope, yeah, those are probably 2 of the main ones.
All that to say, I agree with the theme comment. The Luke comment, I do not agree with, but that's okay.
It is okay.
Do you agree with everything he said?
I do. I straight up agree with everything he says.
That's wild.
I understand where he's coming from. I think people hate on the chase, like the really slow spaceship chase, but I think it's a good mechanic for putting the Resistance in a really bad situation and making them feel hopeless. So
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I like this take.
I think overall, very well thought out, Micah.
Where are you feeling on the hotness scale with this?
I think it's probably Raging Fire, honestly.
I'm just gonna say it's Raging Fire and let people debate it in the comment section. Drew, you are up.
Okay, we're going to go with Diviana, 1792. He or she says the lightsaber should have come with more colors. And low-key, I agree.
I disagree.
Whoa, why?
Okay, no. Well, we'll get into it. Is this a hot take or not?
I don't think this is like the craziest take. I'm going to say...
I would say yellow numbers.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Tell me your thoughts first.
I don't know. More colors are fun. Like, why not?
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. It might lessen the iconic nature of, like, red and green are good and red is bad, which I think is very iconic and should stay.
I think the lightsaber colors could be and I don't think they are, but I think they could be a very cool exploration of, like, they could be a really good world building thing of, like, certain colors mean certain things. I know they do.
Which they kind of do, right?
But that's the thing. You said kind of. Like, I think somebody could go really deep on what do these lightsabers mean, what do kyber crystals mean, and I think in the Legends they did.
Yeah.
Like, it was a big deal if somebody had a yellow lightsaber. It was a big deal that Mace Windu had a purple lightsaber. This take is saying, give me pink lightsaber because pink cool. That might be dumbing it down. But, like, yes, more color lightsabers could look cool. It could also look like Skittles, so...
Yeah, no, actually, I kind of agree.
But I think it could be really cool to have it be a little bit more of a world-building thing of, like, Mace Windu has a purple lightsaber because of these things, and that's really rare.
Ahsoka has a white lightsaber because of X, Y, and Z.
Yes. Yeah. Rey has a yellow lightsaber because of... I mean, like, if lightsabers had a little more lore exploration, at least in the canon now, it could be really cool.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
That's where I'm at.
No, I think I agree.
Okay. All right. Let me find another take. I saw one that I want to get into. All right. This is from Luke Crenshaw.
Shout out, Luke.
He has 2 hot takes. I'm going to choose one. This is crazy. This is raging fire already. The Clone Wars finale with Ahsoka is the best Star Wars content out there. Luke, you were wrong.
Yeah, you are. You are wrong.
Now, if he was to say that it's top 5, it would be a hot take, but I don't think it would be the craziest thing.
Look, something that I have learned in the last 140 episodes of being on the internet and stating my opinions is if you objectively say that anything is the best of a certain franchise, it is really hard to be right.
Yeah. And even if it is the best, unequivocally, everybody has agreed. Somebody will still disagree.
And here's the thing. I haven't seen Season 7 basically since it first came out.
I haven't either.
So
I'm going to do a full Clone Wars rewatch.
I need to rewatch before I can have like a proper conversation about this.
But
this take is absolutely absurd.
I think it's too far.
And again, I mean, even if you just look at cultural impact, if you walk up to someone and you say, like, do you like Ahsoka? I would say like 50% of people would be like, yeah, I like Ahsoka. But if you say, is her moment in Season 7 better than Empire?
I'm your father.
No.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to say that. So yeah, I think.
I disagree with this take. I think it could be a top 10 best Star Wars content out there. I think I could get on board with that.
And I will say this. I do think that a lot of the best Star Wars is more niche.
Yeah.
Like Andor, like Clone Wars.
And some of it requires a lot of
context and low-key homework.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But I can get on board with this being one of the best. But
if we're saying this is objectively the best, I disagree. I think Luke throwing down his lightsaber probably for me is the best moment of Star Wars.
Yeah. You have said that.
Yeah, I have said that.
Thanks for the take, though.
Yeah, I think great content. So shout out to Luke for providing us with the take.
Oh, how many more you want to do? A few more?
Whoa, this take I just snuck up on me. We're doing this one. WR7662. I think that Vader's redemption is less impactful because of the prequels.
Ooh.
And I say that as someone who really likes the prequels. It's really revenge that failed to stick the landing. The original trilogy just alludes to something more interesting than what we were given with the prequels.
I disagree.
Really? I kind of agree.
I understand the execution thing. I know we said this the whole podcast, but like the lore that you get for Anakin, I think makes it more impactful.
Actually, I think
that
I agree
his son,
with you.
like, he fell to the dark side, and his son was the one to pull him out, and we see how far he fell into the dark side. Right. And his son was the one to pull him out. I think that's more impactful because of the prequels.
I would say the prequels strengthen.
Obi-Wan could not, and Obi-Wan was his best friend and his brother and his mentor and everything, and Obi-Wan could not pull him out of the dark side. Yeah. So I think it makes it more impactful, but I see where you're coming from.
Again, I mean, the execution of the prequels does sour the prequels. But I think this is kind of the flip side of the argument where, like, the plot beats and the structure of the story still exists in the sense of you can feel Anakin's arc enough to where the prequels are still watchable.
Yes.
So I think it strengthens the redemption.
Yes. Okay. All right. I have one.
Okay.
All right. This is from DDM Studios. Shout
Wait,
out.
do we hot take that one?
Oh, we did not. Thank you. Where do you want to put this?
I'm going to say enough for s'mores.
Great. Sounds great. Okay. All right. DDM Studios. Hayden Christensen gives the worst performance in all of Revenge of the Sith. The glaze is forced and needs to end.
The worst performance in Revenge of the Sith.
I'm trying to think who gives a worse performance. This might not be that crazy.
Oh, I kind of agree.
Okay.
It makes me sad to agree, but
also the glaze needs to end. Not that crazy either.
I still think there were good moments of his performance.
Yes.
But if we're talking about who has the best performance in Revenge of the Sith, it
He's
ain't
not up
Hayden.
there. What's hard too is like he carries the weight of this movie overall. Like,
Yeah.
He is Anakin Skywalker, and he's supposed to be the main character of this trilogy.
Right.
And so yes, he's put under the spotlight more. Okay, I don't think this is the craziest take. I think some people who love prequels and love Hayden Christensen, which I love Hayden Christensen, I think they're gonna be mad. But I would say this is like maybe only ours.
Yeah, I think like objectively.
But I agree with this take. I think the glaze needs to end. That's not crazy either.
I mean, like, I think if you remove nostalgia and extracurricular Star Wars, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, let's do maybe two more, and then we'll do a part 2 at some point. All right, this is from albertsplinters.
Ooh, albertsplinters.
This one is crazy. There are only 2 good Star Wars movies, 4 and 5. Whoa, we gotta define some terms.
Yeah, we need to define our terms.
If you said there are only 2 great Star Wars movies, that might be actually true.
Yeah.
Good, like if y'all know this, I have like a letterbox scale on like what I give certain stars. Like if I say a movie is great, it's 4 stars. If I say a movie is bad, it's like 1 star or whatever, or 1.5. To me, a good movie is a 3-star movie. That is a positive movie, a positive experience. I think there are more than 2 Star Wars movies that are good.
Yeah, I mean, the scale, if good is above mid and good is positive, I would say a lot of them are good.
I would say there's maybe 8 good Star Wars movies.
Yeah, I think the only ones that could be mid, would you say there's a bad Star Wars movie?
Rise of Skywalker is a bad Star Wars movie.
Right.
And a bad movie.
Other than that.
Phantom Menace is a bad movie. I think I gave it 2.5 stars. I think it's mid. And I know some people hate that, but like Phantom Menace, it's 2 hours of prologue. It's like, and there are good parts of it,
True.
and there's great world building, but like the movie itself is pretty hard to get through. At least for me.
It's true. I like Phantom Menace. I think the only bad Star Wars movie I would say is Rise of Skywalker. I think every other one are mid or good.
Mid or good. Okay, I can agree with that. We'll
Yeah.
see where Mando slots in here.
I know, this will be interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
I think that's kind of a crazy take.
I think if you said there are only 2 great Star Wars movies, I could get on board with
I
that.
think
I would
that
say,
is more palatable.
let's say that was the take.
Yeah. I still think that's crazy. I think
Which ones would you say are also great?
Return of the Jedi, Rogue One, New Hope, Empire, at least.
That's 4. You don't think Last Jedi? I know you don't think Last Jedi gets in there. I think it does.
Maybe. I don't know
Solo?
if I'd say Rogue One, actually. It's borderline good and great. I think Solo is good. I think Solo is in the middle of good. It's a good movie.
Yes.
I don't think I call Solo a great movie.
I would say I would say Rogue One and Return are the ones that have the most case colloquially for great.
But no way you don't think Revenge of the Sith is a good movie.
Yeah, that's just like
That's crazy.
This is a Raging Fire take.
Yeah.
That's all she wrote.
I think it's wild. All right. Our last take of the episode. If we didn't get to yours, we have this all saved, so we'll get to it eventually.
Yes.
So if you watch this episode, comment your Star Wars hot takes. What shall we do?
Oh, man, I just saw one that I want to do, but it's okay. I'm going to let you do your thing.
This is kind of similar to the last one, but I think it could be an interesting conversation. HeronKij
Okay.
says, this is a bad franchise when you think Rogue One and Revenge of the Sith have a chance at being the best. Is Star Wars a bad franchise?
No.
Okay, but
Okay.
let's try to be as objective as possible
Yeah.
and remove nostalgia.
Okay, when we're talking franchise, we're talking about feats of world building.
Okay.
We're talking about epic stories
Yep.
that span generations.
Which Star Wars has.
Oh, yeah, Star Wars has all of it. Now, is it all good? No, but I would say if you're to take all of canon Star Wars and smush it into a sandwich, and you take a bite of that sandwich, you'd be like, pretty good sandwich.
That's a pretty good sandwich.
Now, there might be a bite or two that you're like, that's undercooked, but like it's a pretty good sandwich. Now, there are other franchises that I think if you were to smush them all together, I'm not a Star Trek guy, but like Star Trek might be a good example of like, this isn't that great. If you take all of it, like there's some good, but there's a lot of bad.
Right.
So now that might have just pissed off some people, but we're talking about Star Wars anyway. So
We say that with no Star Trek knowledge.
okay, that's a bad example maybe, but like there are other franchises that are collectively bad despite one or two good movies or good entries. I don't think Star Wars is that. I think Star Wars is better than like a bad franchise. But if you're saying Rogue One and Revenge of the Sith should be vying for like the best Star Wars movie, I could maybe get behind that too.
I agree, but I think they kind of are.
Yeah.
There is a conversation to be had. Like, if someone said Rogue One or Revenge is the best Star Wars movie, I'd be like, I think I disagree, but that's not insane. So there is some validity here in the sense of, I think as movies go, Star Wars has had more misses than hits.
Yeah.
Now, I
Big
think
time.
as for world building and like as an iconic cultural thing, you cannot call Star Wars a bad franchise. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it's wrong.
But as like a person who likes movies and like a cinephile, if you will, I don't hate this.
I don't think Rogue One stacks up against the upper echelon of movies. I think only one or two Star Wars movies really do.
Yeah,
I would only say that A New Hope and Empire really stack up against the upper echelon of really good film and cinema.
Yeah.
But I still
Now-
think it's a good franchise. So,
Yeah.
all right, can we do a bonus one, please?
Yeah. I disagree. Star Wars is a great franchise, but there is some validity to your argument.
Oh wait, what is this on the hotness scale?
Oh, this is a rating fire take.
Okay, wow, we've had a lot of hot takes on this. This is great. Okay, my beloved cousin Austin sent me a hot take.
Okay.
And there is one, he sent me 4. There's one I want to talk about, though. These are all really good. He said, Mace Windu is low-key mean and not a top-tier Jedi. He is too quick to judge. I'm going to fully agree with this take.
Whoa, okay.
But here's where I'm at. He is not a top-tier Jedi. I think when you say like a top-tier Jedi and what a Jedi should be, that's probably true. I think Mace Windu is too much of a warrior and it leans too much emotional to be a top-tier Jedi. Like, say, Yoda, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon. Those are top-tier Jedi in my mind of like who really exemplify what a Jedi is.
Yeah.
So, I agree with this take. I don't know if I don't know if you agree / where we are with.
I don't know if I do agree because I do agree with your sentiment of like he's so much of a warrior and like he is very like war focused and cause focused.
Yes.
So when Anakin rocks up on the scenes like, "Hey, yo, I want to be a Jedi," and Mace Windu's like, "No," basically. I understand his perspective.
Yes.
I don't know if I would say he's a bad Jedi because he has a little different perspective than Obi-Wan or Yoda.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from. I just think like a Jedi is somebody who never gives into their emotions.
Right.
Is not ruled by their emotions. They are keepers of the peace. They only fight when they necessarily need to. I don't think that's Mace Windu. I think Mace Windu jumps into the fray. I mean, the fact that he disobeyed the Jedi, or not disobeyed the Jedi, but he like didn't follow the real way of things for the Jedi when he found out that Palpatine with Sidious. Now, is it the wrong move to try to kill Sidious? Probably not. Like, yes, he would have saved a lot of people a lot of trouble, but if we're talking about, like, the Jedi Code, he didn't really follow it then. So...
True.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably
Is there any
had...
Clone Wars moments where you're like, wow, Mace, why'd you do that?
Not really.
Yeah.
I think it's more the Revenge of the Sith moment.
I do think the moment of him trying to kill Sidious is your best argument for this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Austin, I like your take. How hot of a take is this, Drew?
Between some smoke and enough for s'mores.
I like enough for s'mores.
Okay.
All right. Gang, that wraps this episode up. I know there are still a lot that we did not get around to. It's simply because there were a lot of hot takes, and we've talked about doing a part 2 after Mando. If you guys want that, comment your hot takes below. This is a long episode. Thanks for sticking with us. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. You want to talk about any of it, as usual?
Yep, we got Mando and Grogu next week. We're doing Obsession next week. So, 2 new movies. This is good.
Dang.
We got Backrooms at the end of the month.
Yes.
We have Spider-Man, Odyssey, Doomsday, Dune 3, Supergirl, Lanterns, House of Dragon, other things.
Probably not as much Star Wars right now.
True.
We're a little gassed, so probably going to get out of here. But, hit that subscribe button. Buy one of our Blu-rays that are Blu-rays of the week if you want to. And then, guys, please just take a break.
And enjoy a film.